All right, so our next course in the John David Ebert School for the Study of Culture, Cosmology, and the Arts will be Understanding Dostoevsky. This is a project that I've long wanted to get to, as I've only read 3 or 4 things by Dostoevsky, so I haven't had the chance to really immerse myself in his world. Just really so far, Crime and Punishment, Notes from Underground, The Double, and maybe 1 or 2 other short works. They're all amazing. Everything the guy did was amazing. So this will begin on Saturday, March 8th at noon, MST, and it'll continue for 7 more Saturdays until April 26th, unless the Easter Sunday weekend that falls, I think, on April 20th disrupts us, in which case it can go 1 more week longer. But what we're going to do is we're going to read 4 of his most important works across these 8 weeks. And I'm pretty sure we can do this since Notes from Underground is just going to be 1 class, and it's a very short book. 1864, I believe it is. Let's take a look at the bibliography I've got over here, where Poor Folk is his first novel, 1846. And I gather that it's not one of his best works. I haven't read it. But The Double, on the other hand, is 1846. That is a story that has been imitated over and over and over again in popular culture and in cinema. José Saramago, the great Portuguese novelist, wrote a version of it that a movie was based on, and I think the movie was retitled Enemies. The movie's pretty good. It's not bad. Saramago is absolutely a stunning writer. If you haven't read him, he died not that long ago, maybe 10 years ago. And every single novel that he wrote is incredible, like Blindness, for instance. A movie was made from that as well. But The Double, also Edgar Allan Poe has a double story too from around the same time. I doubt there was any cross-contamination. I don't think Poe could read Russian, and I'm not sure Dostoevsky probably could read English. Right around that time, called William Wilson. But it's not as good as Dostoevsky's, which is amazing. And then he writes a lot of short works here for a while, and then spends some time, a decade, in a Siberian concentration camp, and then writes The House of the Dead as a memoir of what that life was like. And then, so after he's out of the Gulag and so forth, his career starts getting going with Notes from Underground, 1864. A very intense personality in that novel. So we'll take a look at that, and it's sort of Dostoevsky feeling his way around into a very metaphysical world. Dostoevsky's work, as Oswald Spengler mentions in The Decline of the West, is intensely spiritual and represents the true soul of Russia, whereas Tolstoy is writing and imitating European forms very, very well in his writings, but he represents the pseudomorphosis. Tolstoy is the St. Petersburg pseudomorphosis. Even though Dostoevsky was from St. Petersburg, he nonetheless realized that it was a very artificial, fake city, an imitation of Baroque architectural styles. The city built in 1703, I think, officially, under Peter the Great during his war with Sweden, which he won, by the way, and a lot of that had to do with Russia not having a port city. And Peter knew that, Peter the Great, at the end of the 17th century. And so he took that land from the Swedes and created St. Petersburg as, finally, Russia having a port city. Now it can be considered a real culture. The irony of that is that as our glaciers and ice caps melt, the sea levels will rise across the next 5 centuries, and St. Petersburg will be under the water. It's had trouble with flooding ever since it was built. So it's going to have it's going to be underwater, whereas Moscow will not be. And it's one of the very few culture capitals, you might say, that isn't a port city, and therefore is perfectly adapted to survive the sea levels, which will wipe out all of our other coastal cities. I wrote about all this after doing research on it in my book, The Age of Catastrophe, which appropriately was published in 2012. I have read Crime and Punishment. I read both of these in college 2 years later. An absolutely fantastic book. Just an amazing achievement. The characters are so vivid. He's really good with vivid characters. And then he wrote The Gambler and The Idiot. I considered reading The Idiot, but I thought 5 books might be a bit too much for us. So what we're going to do is, for the first class, I will presuppose that you have already read Notes from Underground, because we'll discuss it in that first class. Then in weeks 2 and 3, we'll do Crime and Punishment first half, Crime and Punishment second half. That should be manageable. And then instead of The Idiot, I looked at the reviews online, and generally Demons, also known as The Possessed, is generally considered the better book, though it's a slow burn, and it takes a while to get going, but once it does, it pays out. So the first half in the 4th class, second half of Demons in the 5th class, and then of course we'll finish with the masterpiece that everyone is pretty much in consensus with is his best book, The Brothers Karamazov, and we'll divide that into 3 weeks. In the last week, Easter may interfere with that, so we may push it, the last class, into March. So that's the plan. To enroll live, the price is $270. Don't enroll here. Consult me at johndavidebert@gmail.com if you want to enroll. Or if you just want to subscribe to the classroom video discussions that I can send you every week, that's $175 for that option. There again, to do that, don't enroll here, because they take quite a bit of my money out when they do that, and they charge you taxes, which will make the $275 come out to something like a full $300. Whereas if you just pay me directly, it's just the $275. And then these are some available courses. We're on class 3 in understanding Martin Heidegger, so that enrollment I would bring this down probably to $175 if you wanted to enroll now after the 3 classes, and then I could send you the videos for those. We have finished understanding European art, so that canon is complete, and then exploring the Western canon, the Iliad, and that's complete. So I would knock these prices down because they're complete to $175 and $175, all 3 of them, $175. Now I'm only allowed to display 3 classes at a time, 5 total, if you get online on Teachable and look at what I've got. But we've completed something like 20 classes. Teachable wants something like $162 a month just to allow me to display those 20 classes. So I do have a list of those classes, and they're all complete. Courses on Nietzsche, understanding mythology, a Carl Jung class. Go down the list. We've done just about everything. Rudolf Steiner. At some point, we will do an Oswald Spengler class. I'm planning that out, and also a class on Picasso too. At some point, I want to go through his oeuvre. Okay, so, and also I still do astrology readings. Those are $150 for a 1-hour reading live over Zoom, and I can send you the Zoom link for that. You would deposit that money into my PayPal, which has the same email here. Okay, I think this class is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been planning on going through Dostoevsky for a long, long time. Then who knows, we might go through Tolstoy next. It depends on whether these classes are in popular demand or not. I know Dostoevsky will be, so we'll have a great time with that. All right, I'll see you in class.